Hello everybody and welcome back to another final thoughts and timeline for a completed campaign that we did on the YouTube. Admittedly, this campaign isn't actually finished, but we're going to be finishing it. It's one that we started for the Dharma release, Delhi, and right now we're like 3 patches back as part of the reason why it does need to get wrapped up. Let's get going with Delhi here. Now Delhi has a really let's pause and think about this. Delhi has a really tricky start, I think. I think it's very tricky because you have you have these guys as a vassal, but you also have a lot of cores on here. That's the good part. They have cores on you. They have cores on you. You have cores on them. There's going to be war between Sirhind and Delhi right from the start. In fact, there's a randomness how quickly this can happen the first 10 days before you can even conceivably get any allies. Typically, Bengal was the one nation. I had to restart this a couple times. That was the funny part, right? Tweaked the strategy and restarted a couple times. Bengal was the only nation I could get consistently to ally before these guys would attack us. We did end up getting Gujarat, I think, in the run that we succeeded, so it was like Gujarat and Bengal. The tricky thing about that is, though, almost every single time if you call in Bengal, Orissa's just going to attack Bengal and then get wrecked there. So you're going to end up having to break the alliance when Orissa attacks Bengal, unless you want to help Bengal survive, which Orissa has a lot of little vassals, so they have a huge force limit at the beginning of the game. Basically, Orissa gets really strong. That's kind of the point of the story here, is by allying Bengal and forcing them into this war, you end up sort of giving Orissa like a free pass to get quite a bit more powerful, and we're going to see that in this game. But so the war does trigger within the first little bit, and there we go, boom. Within the first 3 years, we've taken all this. Now we've stabilized a bit. Our vassal over here isn't so upset with us. We still have that one province left. I think it might have been, I don't know why we didn't take this province. It might have been like an aggressive expansion thing or a coalition thing. I'm not sure. One of the tricky things, though, is like these are our cores. It's tricky because these are our cores, but I think the CB, the war that starts, I don't think we got a good discount on them. I think we ended up paying a lot of aggressive expansion for them, which is kind of a bummer. End up conquering up here because it's kind of easy to do, but unfortunately these are like kind of Buddhist nations. They're just weak, low development provinces. None of this is really that fantastic. We have the missions to retake our land from Jaunpur, but Jaunpur is, well, they're stronger than us at the moment. We also have to take from Multan. Oh man, Multan grabbed that piece from us too. We have a few cores actually on Multan. Same with a bunch of cores in Jaunpur, right? But these guys are probably allying together. It's just the whole thing was just a huge alliance mess. And then you have the Timurids in here potentially allying some of these people. The Timurids had a great game, and that hurt us significantly, right? If the Timurids were weak, this entire campaign would have been significantly easier, but the Timurids were very, very strong. I don't think we affected Afghanistan, Fars, Ajam. I don't think we affected any of these nations negatively, because usually you would think that altogether they can kind of beat up on the Timurids, but yeah, there was so much waiting around, it wasn't even funny. I mean, we have all these cores here, but we can't get them. We're losing prestige like crazy because we have cores that we don't own, right? And that's just a huge prestige negative modifier, just massive. Gujarat's just having a huge game. Orissa's having a huge game. Heck, these nations seem to be like expanding and conquering faster than we are, for crying out loud. We have all these cores right here, but it's just the alliance network is just, we can't quite get it going. I don't think we're allied to... Heck, I don't even think we're allied to Vijayanagar. I don't know who we have in terms of allies at this point, because we're definitely enemies with Mewar. We might be allies with Gujarat. That could be kind of it. Maybe Sindh. Maybe we pick up Sindh at some point. Of course, Vijayanagar and Orissa are Hindu nations. We're a Sunni nation. That was kind of interesting, having to try to, like, we were trying to convert stuff, even though we strictly didn't have to. We were trying to convert stuff to Sunni, just to kind of keep everything nice and stable. We did end up going humanist, which was like massively useful. Like, it was actually, but we got it way later. But getting full humanist was just it was insane. It was actually insane. We'd conquer land, and there'd be negative unrest in land we just conquered. It's pretty crazy. So Mewar, we ended up getting rid of this vassal one way or another. Grabbing Mewar. Mewart's now a vassal. They have religious ideas. That's one of the reasons why we want to do them. And we also got this nation over here who had some cores that they could get. So some of this is getting back some of their cores, I think. Or maybe these bits are their cores, I'm not sure. So we're going to be expanding these two vassals up. And at this point, we've gotten the cores back from Jaipur. At this point, economically, we're pretty solid. Timurids, though, are allied to Kazakh and a bunch of other nations. Timurids just have always had tons of alliances. We do end up beating them up a couple times. We do prove that we are absolutely superior to them. But man, was it harder than it needed to be. Quite a bit harder than it needed to be. Institution. Wait, did we go economics? I don't know. We're going to have to check our idea groups. I can't remember. But the institutions, we got all those pretty easily. We were keeping up on tech really, really well. I think we had some really good leaders. That was just good luck on our part. We also had the vassal feeding going on. That saved us some points too. For the most part, we didn't conquer anything that we didn't have a claim on. That was really nice. And of course, a lot of our early conquering is actually regaining cored land. So we're just kind of following the missions as best as we can, right? We're getting a bunch of missions to conquer sort of this area, and then we're getting a bunch of missions to conquer this area, and then we're getting missions to conquer this area, and we're just sort of following those missions, and that's saving us a lot of monarch points by getting those claims and taking advantage of those claims. We are going to end up picking up Bengal as a vassal, as our third vassal. At this point, we have, what is it, just Vijayanagar? I think we drop Orissa. It's like Vijayanagar is our only ally. What we're trying to do is make sure that Orissa and Bammanis and Vijayanagar just have truces with each other so they can't eat each other, so that it makes it keep them all sort of medium-sized. And yeah, at this point, we're just kind of rinsing and repeating, you know, feeding the vassals, cleaning up the smaller nations, taking chunks out of Bammanis as much as we can. We're getting close to beating up Vijayanagar, who at this point can't even fight back. Vijayanagar also has no one to ally, right? Because we're Hindu, and they might be able to ally down here. I don't even know if these guys are Hindu. They get allied down there, but what's that going to do for them? You know what I mean? Nothing. So here we can see Bengal just took a huge snap of land, and this is the end of the timeline. Now, typically, we'd go back and against Orissa, we'd give Bengal some more land there. We'd integrate, I think we are working on integrating Mewar. So this is why the campaign's not finished, right? We did want to conquer all of India and form a Hindustan. That was the point of this run. Man, we are making just insane amounts of ducats. I mean, we have 3,500 in the bank. I don't even know why we have such a large lump sum, to be honest. I don't even know what's going on. We don't even have that many crazy areas to build these, to be honest. We built them in most of the really, really juicy provinces. I think we've even gotten all of our trade ports up to level 2 at least. We probably need to get some level 3s online. But yeah, I think at this point, though, it's kind of rinse and repeat, right? We've overcome all the challenges. We've beat up the Timurids. We can continue to beat them up. I think we're world power #1. That's even ahead of the Ottomans, who, by the way, we're allied to now. We're allied to the Ottomans because we're Sunni, they're Sunni. It's just a perfect match. They're far away. We can't meddle with them. They can't meddle with us. We could use them to go against war against the Timurids. I mean, it's just, at this point, it's smooth sailing, right? It's rinse and repeat. It's smooth sailing. I think it's time to move on to other things. So what we're going to do is in 2019, we're going to have a system where we're going to do campaigns only up to the year 1500 or somewhere around there, right? So that's going to be early game guides, early game walkthroughs for different nations. That way we can explore a bunch of different nations. I want to do one of those. I want to have like a new campaign going every month. So, you know, we could do a run in this region and play till 1500 and try to make the most of it, you know, set ourselves up for the end game. We could play, you know, in Europe, and then over here we can shift around more, right? And try new different things and practice our starts, because really the start's the most exciting and interesting and important part of the game, right? Getting that snowball going. Once you get to 1500 though, everything's pretty much smooth. You're stabilized, you know what I mean? You know, there's still more to do. This game is still fun to play past 1500. It's still very fun to keep going, go for those achievements and stuff like that. But a lot of the times, by the time you get to 1500 to 1510, you're kind of just like, it can kind of become a rinse and repeat thing. And if we're only going to put up an episode of EU4 maybe every other day, it'd be nice to keep it sort of like a rotation, some sort of fresh rotation going on that, right? So we aren't going to be doing like 50, 60, 70 episode campaigns anymore. Nobody cares. You know, nobody wants to watch that stuff. We're just going to keep it fresh. We're going to keep it fresh. We're going to do a 50-year walkthrough for 12 different nations in the year 20 19. Now, it could be that Imperial Rome, whenever that comes out, that might take the place of EU4, but and then we could do the same thing. We could do 50-year walkthroughs. We could do so. There's so much potential content for Imperial Rome, I think, actually. Yeah, so we'll definitely be playing that next year. But yeah, there's some exciting stuff that I think we're going to do next year on the channel. But right now, I just wanted to get a final thoughts for this because this was still a campaign that we've been working on. Kind of to get that timeline, see how things kind of develop there. And yeah, for the most part, things are going great. We're very powerful. We're very rich. And let's take a look at the ideas. So we went humanist second, but it felt like it took a while to get there, especially as admin. We didn't go economics. We did not go economics. That would have been very smart too. Although humanist, of course, is an admin, economics is an admin. Defensive is just fantastic, right? It's like just getting that 15% morale early. I'm questioning whether or not anything is better than that. I don't know. I'm just falling in love with defensive. I used to go quantity all the time, but you don't have a lot of nations don't have the money for quantity. Quality is cool too, but 10% infantry combat ability, I don't think that compares to 15% morale of armies. It's just, I don't think there's a comparison there. Aristocratic actually would have been totally fine. Would have been totally good this run. Because we do already have 15% extra cavalry combat ability, and I think our stacks have a few extra cav. I'm loading a little bit extra cav to try to take advantage of that. But I think defensive is just, it's just always good. It's just always good. So those are the ideas there. If we go to the diplomatic screen, we can see that Mewart, Graha, and Bengal, this is kind of what we're looking like here. So, I mean, for the most part, we finish Orissa Balmanis, and then it's just us versus Giannikar one-on-one. Ottoman's here to watch our back. I don't know. Campaign's pretty much smooth sailing at this point, right? Well, let's move on to something fresh. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.